Welcome to another one of my live streams. Thank you if anybody's here. I'm not sure if there's anybody watching right now, but I'm just going to start off with a music video before, just to let a couple people trickle in is always helpful. So thanks for joining me today. We're going to be talking about, I'm going to be exposing you guys to some things that you may or may have not seen before regarding the gender bending agenda as well as the death faking agenda. Doesn't look like I got anybody in here yet, but that's fine. That's why we're going to play some music here right now. New one from Big Sam.
Let me take you to the town where I came from. Remember being young, always say one. I tried to avoid the troubles that would fall on me. Life ain't never easy for a young homie. Let me take you to the town where I came from. I remember being young, always say one. I try to avoid the troubles that would fall on me. Life ain't never easy for a young homie. I'm from North Cal with a shoulder sprain. The Mecca left the Smith and West to bring your mama pain. He got a son now, pistol with his son down. He don't wanna do it, if he don't do it, he gets gunned down. He heard a pop, but no, we gon' come and let him, so he jammed down. I heard from his mama, Lord have mercy on my son now. He's 27 and he's tired of it. Jesus, can you save my soul and my money up here? Cause I'm a mess, but I heard that you can take the bullet. You can take a heart of stone and with your hands renew it. Can you bring some peace to me and to my enemies? If I surrender to your Father, you'll inner me. I need that inner peace. With all my enemies, take the will and take the keys. Make me yours, make me free, I give you all of me. Cause I am ready, Lord, I'm tired, Lord, about it, me. I heard my mama praying for me, but a young homie. To the town where I came from. Remember being young, always say one. I try to avoid the troubles that would fall on me. Life ain't never easy for a young homie. Let me take you to the town where I came from. I remember being young, always say one. I try to avoid the troubles that would fall on me. Life ain't never easy for a young homie.
Now I know this life is hard and sometimes it does get hectic, but it doesn't help at all if we out here living reckless. I hear what these folks are saying, they tell you go get that bag, but money won't satisfy you no matter how much you ask. It's like a vapor, you see it and then it's gone. You're straight, let's for a moment, you have it and then it's done. Don't be so focused on money, instead we'll go after wisdom, cause wisdom will get you money and keep you away from prison. Wisdom will never leave you, wisdom will be inside you. Wisdom will always guide you and put the right ones beside you. Listen, trust in the Lord, follow him and not your heart, man. I'm just trying to give you game. I wish I had from the start. Take a
Town where I came from. Remember being young, always say one. I try to avoid the troubles that would fall on me. Life ain't never easy for a young homie. Let me take you to the town where I came from. I remember being young, always say one. I try to avoid the troubles that would fall on me. Life ain't never easy for a young homie. Hey.
Hallelujah. It was a pretty good song. I like that one. It's a new one he just made. So this whole topic, just so you guys know, is one of the most scrubbed things on the internet right now. It's actually very hard to find information if you like check on even Start Page and DuckDuckGo. I'm actually in the process of looking for a new search engine right now because neither of them are good enough. Yes, they're both anonymous search engines, but they both give you results from completely filtered and censored sources. And so you when you're searching for something, you can't actually find the thing that you type in because it's been so flooded with disinformation that I'm going to have to like figure out what's the better search engine to start using, because I can't even get real information anymore and find old clips and things that were used to. So regarding these two topics that I'm covering today on the live stream. So one of them, like I typed in, for example, like Michael Jackson faked his own death, Russian vids, RV truth. So you would think that's going to bring up something, but it's nothing but garbage that comes up when you look for it through that. And because Start Page is using Google as the back end, but it's doing it anonymously because they pay a license fee to them to do that. So you're just getting Google results. So you're just getting completely censored out results. So Start Page is no good. It's crap. I'm gonna have to find something. And then DuckDuckGo actually does give you better results, but they're still not good enough. They're still washed out and lame. So I just want to let you guys know that that this death faking agenda and this tranny agenda is very heavily scrubbed. So they don't want you necessarily to know about it. But I was able to dig this one up. It's real good. This one is, I wish, maybe I should save this for later when all the other viewers might drop in. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to save that one for later. We're going to jump right into the Michael Jackson is still alive. That basically Russian vids. I couldn't find his video. It's been removed from YouTube and I couldn't find it anywhere else yet. But I definitely know he did a video where he claims that this guy right here, who came on an interview on CNN or something, he came on an interview after Michael Jackson supposedly died, but he says he's the same person. So and then let's see. Hey, what's up, Stu? Thanks for dropping in. And then the sites that do host like Bishop, whoever accessed the no information. Oh, really? Yeah, I don't care who tracks me anymore. I just go for it. I don't even hide my IP, nothing. That's where I'm at. But anyways, so this one, and I do agree with Russian vids on what he did say in his video about this, that these are in fact the same person. See how that video is unavailable? Yeah, that got scrubbed. So let's see. Let's see what I was able to dig up on this one though, and take a look at it right now.
Michael Jackson is another person totally with the mask.
I don't know how we expect to go to the movies, but you know what I'm saying? Like, this is Michael Jackson. Like, how the hell are we gonna actually go to the movies? So you got to grab the kids. They looking normal. Mike comes out. He has his disguise on, So I starts laughing because I didn't even recognize him, Sometimes I forget that he's supposed to be in disguise, and I keep calling him Mike. So then when I realized she was peeping, then I start calling him Dave. Dave.
This guy's name is Dave.
Hello all, this is Dave. How are you? Our world has come to an interesting point in an interesting time. This is a very interesting project we're working on. I want to thank each and every one of you for your overwhelming support. May God bless you. I love you. Good night.
Thank you very much for all of your support, and may God bless you all. I love you. Goodbye.
you that I lost a person in my life, but at the same time, I gained a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. To his Encino house. Think I was at the Encino house. To his Encino house. Think I was at the Encino house. To his Encino house. Think I was at the Encino house. Encino house. The Encino house.
Okay, I'm just going to say that was amazing, that video. Holy crap. That was as good as the Russian vid ones for sure. But he does a breakdown of the interview that this Dave character does on the show. See, they like to do that afterwards when they fake the death. They like to mock and bring the people on, and they have duping delight and all that sort of stuff. It's all that stuff that Russian vids talked about in his. But man, that was a good one. Holy smokes. I hadn't watched it yet. That was really good. So when I went to like DuckDuckGo and you put in something like Dave is Michael Jackson, so that's when I was able to pull up some more of the stuff. When I was able to find out the name of the character guy, I was able to get to a lot more clips and stuff like that. So, but otherwise it was buried. Like I couldn't find it until I figured out the name of this Dave guy, and then I was able to get a lot more hits on stuff. So yeah, but let's go ahead and let's move on to this transgender bender agenda. You've seen the Bowie one? Yeah, I'm going to save that till later because I feel like there might be more viewers in here a little bit later that can help peep that video because it's pretty good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and do this one. I have not, by the way, I've not really watched these videos yet, so we'll see them together, I guess.
100%. By the time I get the end of the video, there's going to be no doubt whatsoever that this is a man. 100%. And the name Samantha Stoser with the man in the...
Sorry about this quality, guys. This is a
love that play on names once again. But first off,
issue problem.
Let's take a look at the Williams brothers, better known as the Williams sisters, Serena and Venus. I mean, how obvious can it be? Just take a look at these two. I mean, it's not even debatable. These are two dudes, without a shadow of a doubt. Take a look here at Serena, a closer look. Who does this remind you of? First thought, looking at this face of this boy, this man, whatever you want to call it, it reminds me of Wanda from In Living Color. They love this role reversal. It all has to do with the Bible verse, with Deuteronomy 22:5. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God. So whatever the Bible says, they're going to do the exact opposite. This is how our world is. This is how those that run this world from behind the scenes, that are pulling the strings, operate. Let's take a look at Hollywood as well, for example, in the music industry. As you can see here, from the Eurythmics, Annie Lennox has this man type of look with the suit, the orange hair for 33. You take a look at Poison, Bret Michaels, CC DeVille, and the rest. Obviously, these are just nothing more than puppets. Do you think any men would want to do this unless they're homosexuals? I don't think so. I don't think these guys are gay. They're just doing it because, you know, they're going to get paid to do it. They're going to be paid well. So just go along with the program. Basically, nothing more than sell us, just like Dee Snider. Same exact concept. Boy George, and so forth. Now, taking a look here at Baphomet. As I showed many times, the Masonic goat god, the androgynous being with the female breast and the male arms. That's exactly what you see here with the Williams brothers. Now, moving along here, I found it pretty interesting. Might be a little bit off topic, but I want to touch upon this. Just take a look here at Serena Williams with Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian's listed height is 5'2" to 5'3", in that range, and she's wearing high heels. And look how short she is. She looks like a midget next to Serena. You take a look at this wrist, take a look at these hands. She's wearing flats. She's wearing high heels. Imagine if you took away these high heels, how short she would be. One thing I noticed, all these photos I looked online, when I see Kim Kardashian with Serena Williams, who's missing out of this picture? Kanye West. Let's take a look here. Kanye. Let's compare the two here, side by side. Okay, look at the height. I mean, she's, again, 5'2", 5'3". Kanye, I would say, is about 5'6", 5'7". Basically, they're, basically midgets. Again, compare the height. Imagine if Kanye was standing next to Serena. You know how ridiculous he would look? He'd be about right here. It'd be a complete joke. Take a look here as well. You see here, again, Kim Kardashian next to Serena. Okay, another side-by-side here. Let's take a look here once again. 5'2", 5'3". They say Kanye
it looks like the Incredible Hulk
whatsoever. He's about maybe 5'5", 5'6", maybe 5'7". No way anything taller than that. So you understand why when they have these photo ops, you don't have Kanye in the picture with Kim next to Serena. There's a very good reason for that. So make it look very obvious that, of course, Serena Williams is a dude. Talking about Serena, let's look at Venus here. Okay, I pointed this out before. Basically nothing more than a dude with a wig, fake boobs. I mean, there's no side, there's no curvature.
Uh-oh. Hopefully.
There's no curvature to the earth. Look at these legs. It's a joke. I mean, look at these feet. They're men's feet, men's hands. I mean, just did a chop job on the the crotch area, and there you go. You have this basic transgender freak, just like you see here with Baphomet. There's no difference. This is the goal of the elite. Okay, take a look here as well. Again with Venus, absolutely no size, and this is the abs of a man. This is no woman whatsoever. Yes, they have a lot of money. They spent a lot of time and effort to mold them into what the society believes is a woman. Anatomically, this is a male, without a shadow of a doubt. Now, getting on topic was Sam Stosur. No doubt whatsoever, this is a man. Okay, let's take a closer look. Again, by the time I show all these photos, there'll be...
Do apologize for this, guys.
No doubt whatsoever.
Just so you know, this information has to be brought to you from an alternative source, and so it's not as good a quality as we're used to. But otherwise, it's completely scrubbed off of other sources.
Look at the size of that neck. Look at the arms. Look at the veins on the underarm. You don't really see this with females. Look at that. It's a male bodybuilder. They get these veins from working out. This is a dude. Without a shadow. Look at those arms. Look at those biceps. It's good. Take a look here as well. Look at the size of these arms here. Again, there's those veins, the size of the arm. Some more photos. Give me a break. I mean, the orange as well. Everything there. Just a creation, a Masonic creation. Let's take a look here as well. Look at the size of the arm. Look at that shoulder compared to the head. This is a dude. No doubt whatsoever. More photos. Take a look here. Look at the size of that neck. Look at that Adam's apple. Okay, the shoulder. More photos. More of the same. The shoulders, the arms. Take a look at the fingers here. Specifically the index finger. Now, I need to say this for the females out there. This is what needs to be understood. A lot of females are complaining when I mention this, how the index finger is shorter than the ring finger. This is about the 98%. There are going to be females with similar hands. But in this case, we're not just comparing one attribute. We're comparing many details. Again, like I showed in these photos. I'm going to get to more photos here. And again, by the time I get to the very end, which I'm getting close to, going to be no doubt whatsoever. And take a look at those arms. Take a look at that back. Arms, the wrist. Now this photo here, this is really going to blow it out of the water without a shadow of a doubt. With men, just like bodybuilders, when they're not all worked up and flexed, they don't look, their arms don't look too big. And there's some photos where arms look semi, normal for a female. If you look online, they don't look too big here. This is probably more than likely the beginning of the match. But as the match progresses, the arms get bigger. He's sweating, I should say. I almost said she. He's sweating. Take a look here. This is this is going to blow out of the water, like I said. Just take a look here. Look at these arms. Look at the shoulders. Look at the sides. Look at the legs. Look at the wrist. You cannot gain wrist, these size wrist as a female. There's no way. You could build up your biceps, you could build up your triceps.
Smoking gun picture right there, man.
You cannot build up your wrist like this.
It's case closed.
This is a man without a shadow of a doubt. You just take away the head like I just did, you can tell this is a dude. Okay? Take a closer look here. No doubt whatsoever. The size of the wrist, the arms, the legs. These are the legs of a dude. Okay? Right here. Take a look here. The side angle. I mean, this is a complete joke. Society is so brainwashed. They're so easily manipulated. Whatever their media tells them, they're just going to buy it. They're just going to believe it. Their thing is, why would they lie to us? They don't understand their methods. That's why they're easily deceived. Take a look here as well. This one photo. I mean, just take a look at that face. Remove the hair. Take away the hair. I mean, this is a dude. I mean, look at the shoulder. Compare the face as well. That's a pretty big shoulder. It's the face of a man. Now taking a look again here. Now they try to feminize this man, putting a dress, an orange dress for a 33. For those that follow my channel, the only color numerology that is 33 is orange.
Yeah, the orange is, they like to use that. That's the Scottish Rites Masonry Orange Lodge or something like that. They use a lot too.
Take a look at the hands. Take a look at the arms. Yes, they do a decent job of making him look like a female. Got all the money in the world. These so-called elite.
Well, it's been doing pretty good on this video. I don't know why this particular other source
transform
has these
a
issues.
man into a woman and a woman into a man. With all the money they have, all the plastic surgeons and whatnot. Look here. This one photo. Well, this is a complete joke here. These are the arms, the shoulders of the man. No doubt whatsoever. Again, that wrist, those arms. I mean, this is a man holding a purse. Look at the size of the hands. Okay, right here as well. Okay, same thing. I mean, to someone that's not really paying attention, yeah, I can see how someone might believe this is a female, but you must have good discernment. The masses don't. They have piss poor discernment, basically, when it all comes down to it. Now, this photo here. Take a look here with all the camera, the paparazzi or photographers. Take a look at the size of the arms and legs. One thing I noticed, look at these feet. Okay? This is a complete joke. Why would a female walk around like this? This is something subconsciously a man would do. They wouldn't care about this. They got the tan legs and the white feet from wearing shoes.
Yeah, shoot, the service is really bad. We don't have to watch this whole thing, though. We can move on to the next one if we need to.
Be very particular about these type of things. They wouldn't walk around public with white feet and tan legs like this. Something a man would do. And this being a man, it's not a big deal. Same thing here. Straightaway shot. There's your white feet. I mean, these are hammer toes. I mean, this is the feet of a man. You saw the veins and everything. Now, Found it pretty interesting, this photo. Serena Williams with Sam Stosur. Take a look at the arms. I mean, Serena's a little bit bigger, but those arms are pretty big as well. Two dudes facing off, dressed as females. Look at those. Look at that wrist. Look at that hand. You tell me this is a female? You're got to be kidding me. Now I'm going to move on to something. When it comes to, truth in movies, lies in the news type of deal, like I talk about all the time. This one movie going back to 1992. It was called Ladybug, starring Rodney Dangerfield. And there's this child actor you see here. Basically, the plot of this movie, this man named Chester, and Chester being 33 in numerology, as I showed before, just like I showed from Stephen King's Under the Dome. Get a close-up, and it's Chester again for 33. So, I didn't get too far off topic, but again, the whole plot is this character played by Rodney Dangerfield named Chester. He is a coach for a female soccer team, and they're pretty pathetic. They're a horrible team. So basically, he recruits this young boy to dress as a female. The team does much better, of course, when they add this boy in as dressed as a female to compete. Same exact principle here. This is the world we live in. The so-called elite basically get away with whatever they want because they own and control the media. You control the media, and you control the minds. It's that simple. That's how they get away with it. 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, this is a dude.
All right, guys. So that was that video from an alternative source, and that's why the it gets those lag spikes and whatnot on there.
Deep in the forest of Belgium,
what the heck?
just outside
it just
of
autoplayed something. Okay. Yeah, I don't like autoplay. Okay, so we're gonna move on to this video that I got pulled up, and this one is from our friend, and I say this jokingly, Eric Dubé, who was a kind of pioneer of the flat earth movement back in 2015. He's the one that got me pretty much, it was him and Mark Sargent on YouTube. I remember specifically. Those were the two that came out first that I remember. Their videos went to like totally viral on YouTube before censorship hit. And but he Eric Dubé is strongly into like a white power thing, like an Aryanism, Atlantis seeking. He even makes a website that's called something like Seeking Atlantis, or I can't remember what, but he's into like Hitler was like totally the good guy, that kind of stuff. So, but he's all into New Age as well as Eastern mysticism and like martial arts and stuff like that. So praying for him. We've been praying for him to get saved, but he hates Jesus. So as of last I heard.
In the world today,
but he does make good
there's
videos.
An agenda well underway, which is purposely subverting and transforming the family unit, creating sexual confusion and normalizing gender dysphoria while promoting and celebrating mental illness. As will be shown, this gender-bending agenda has existed covertly for decades and in fact centuries, but recently, due to its successes, is now becoming more overt, obvious, and ostentatious, to the point that celebrities such as Charlize Theron are openly, physically, and pharmaceutically transgendering their children as young as 7 years old. All over North America, drag queens are setting up library story hours to passively push transgenderism on children. And through new school cyberbullying initiatives, LGBTQs with their army of outrage and pronouns are becoming part of elementary curriculums.
Welcome to Queer Kid Stuff. I'm Lindsay, and this is my best friend, Ted. Today, we're talking about the T in LGBT. We are part of one big family. Gaming's happy stuff. Queer Kid Stuff. You are enough. Here at Queer Kid Stuff. Welcome to the final part of our 4-part series breaking down the letters in LGBT. You ready, Teddy?
Ready.
Okay. Today we are talking about the 4th letter, T. T stands for
I hope he doesn't play
trans
too
or
much of this
transgender.
video because I
There's
really
something
dislike
a bit
watching
weird
these
about
things.
how doctors assign gender to babies. That's because there aren't only boys and girls. And because not all people identify with their assigned gender.
Oh, so the doctors are wrong sometimes?
Yes, Teddy. Sometimes doctors don't assign the right genders. When a person does not identify with the gender they're assigned when they're born, they are trans or transgender. People who are trans can be boys or girls or people too.
And I can always ask someone their pronoun, just like you taught me.
That's right, Teddy. There's also another word you should know. It's the word cisgender. Someone who is cisgender does identify with the gender they're assigned.
Okay, so since you were assigned girl and you use she, then you are cisgender.
That is exactly right, Teddy.
I think I can see your beard. I see.
You can see my beard? Oh no!
Oh god, I don't know how much of this I can take, guys. These video clips disturb me and stuff.
Hi, how are you?
And plus, this is a long
What's your
video
name?
too, so we'll see how
Nico?
far we get
I'm
here.
Isabella. What's your name?
Kristen.
Kristen? Nice to meet you. I'm Isabella. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Are you nervous?
Yes.
How come? Do I look scary? Do you know what I am? No? I'm a drag queen. Have you ever heard of a drag queen before? No? Everybody should try
Okay,
it.
guys, I'm gonna make it smaller so we don't
It's
have
really
to
fun.
like have it in our face somewhere.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few kids that are starting to do drag.
It's 2018. There's gonna be drag kids in the world. And I'm one of them.
I think that anyone can do what they want in life. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If you want to be a drag queen and your parents don't let you, you need new parents. If you want to be a drag queen and your friends don't let you, you need new friends.
It's a dream she's had for as long as she can remember.
What happens in a good fairy dream?
So when I was 2 years old, I went up to my mom and asked her, when is the good fairy going to come with her magic wand and change my penis into a vagina?
Oh my god.
For the now 18-year-old Jazz Jennings, that dream is about to become a reality.
There's my stretcher.
She's about to undergo her gender confirmation surgery,
I would say this is the final step of transitioning.
a procedure that, in her case, essentially refashions male genitalia into the female equivalent.
Thank you. This is really the last thing that will validate my identity as a woman. There's nothing else after this. I just get to be myself, be in the body that I've always wanted.
With adolescence looming, Jazz, along with her parents, decided to use blockers to medically pause male puberty.
All right, guys. You guys can call it whenever you want if we need to move on to the next video because this stuff just really disturbs me. I think we get the point, you know. We'll see if Eric Dubé is going to cut back in here or
It's
not.
going to be like a patchwork vagina, Franken vagina.
As Jazz makes her way into that life-changing surgery, she hopes that if successful, it'll pave the way for the next generation of trans girls.
Look at I Am Jazz. I Am Jazz is celebrated as a hero in America. They started out as an 11-year-old or 10-year-old transgender boy. She has a national TV show on TLC talking about her journey becoming into a woman. And now she's only 16 years old and just had the surgery to cut off her penis her perfectly healthy penis and turn it into a vagina. And the surgery was televised, it was celebrated, and she even had a birthday party saying bye-bye penis and welcoming her vagina on her TV show that's targeted to youths and teens who watch this and of course get influenced by it.
Speech. I just wanted to thank you all for coming to this farewell.
All right, I'm leaving this comment up until
for 17
something happens and then something changes in this video.
Body part that I have not wanted. And even though I've grown to love my penis for what it is, I'm happy to say goodbye.
Now, recently there was a story that came out from a gender non-binary person, and he says, I was America's first non-binary person, and it was all a sham. And he says that 4 years ago, he wrote about his decision to live as a woman in the New York Times, writing that he had wanted to live authentically as the woman that I have always been. And he had effectively traded my white privilege to become one of America's most hated sub-minorities. So he first was a man, then he came out in public, decided that he's a woman, went through the process of becoming a woman, and then 2 years ago, he realized, well, actually, maybe I'm not a woman. Maybe I'm non-binary. I'm a non-binary person, neither man nor woman. So still having this hole in him, he decided he's a gender non-binary person and lived his life as that. And now he realized after much needed soul searching and therapy that he is a man and he wants to live as the man that he was actually born to be. Now, this is a story that did not get much mainstream media attention, of course, because they want to push stories like this by the wayside. But this should tell you that he realized it was all a sham, that he had been pushed by the media to become transgender or become a woman and then become a gender non-binary person, when really he just needed more therapy and more soul searching and more growing into adulthood to realize that he was actually a man. He has a penis, he was born with a penis, and he wants to be and live like a man. And he goes on to say just how much he regrets his transition surgeries. And there are many people all over America that also regret their transition surgeries. And there is actually a website called sexchangeregret.com. You should look it up. And I also talk about this a lot in my book, where about 70 to 80% of transgenders who, when they just are naturally led to grow into adulthood, they will naturally come to love, embrace, and accept the gender, the sex that they were born with.
One of the dire consequences of the cultural norming of transgenderism is the treatment of children who express confusion about their biological sex. At younger and younger ages, they are being encouraged to take part in what are called transition-affirming treatments that may be emotionally and physically damaging, and in some cases, irreversible. The evidence suggests that advocates of such treatments are more committed to a politically correct agenda than to science, or what is ultimately good for children. Medical treatments often used to treat children with gender dysphoria have not been proven safe.
So this is a pretty long video that he made. It actually is like a 3-hour long video. So I'm obviously not going to watch the whole thing. I just wanted to, I guess, touch on that one just to show you the agenda, or, you know, that's what this whole live stream is about today. So that was one of them. Here's the leader of New Zealand. Oh, this one won't load, actually. This one's been scrubbed. As I was talking about earlier, with this topic being super heavily scrubbed. So this one won't play. And this is an alternative source that I had to go to try to find a video on it, and it won't play on the alternative source. So it's like, it's just very, yeah, this topic, man, that's really sad, man. I'm sorry to hear that, Vic. Yeah, the suicide rate is very, very high in that community. And it's not because everyone hates them. It's because it is a demon possession, and it is all about Satan trying to get you to do things to yourself, harm yourself, get you sent to hell, everything like that. That's what everything's about in this world. It's not just this one agenda. This one agenda just ties into all the other agendas that, which are also, it's all about sin.
So that when she does do
here we go.
Her speech,
so here we go. We got the 2-ball cane right here, if you know what I mean. 2 balls and a cane right down there in that dress.
Our left.
You have people within the Labor Party with, hoping to get into that cabinet, and of course, then there's also things like Under Secretary, which for people not familiar is sort of a halfway house role. I think David Seymour was an Under Secretary.
What's up, Gabby? Thanks for being here.
The Under Secretary position. You can have things like Ministers of State, which aren't actually ministers of anything, but you're a minister nonetheless. So there's all sorts of.
Here, let's go back and watch that one more time. Might have missed it in the beginning. There's other clips as well besides this one, but it's hard to find actually. These. Hang on a second. What just happened? Did it just autoplay me again? What the heck? Did she? Sorry. It's a weird site, man. I don't. All right, let's try this again.
So that when she
all right, take a look right at the beginning is the best.
Just let me come back.
The very beginning of this video gives you the best. Right there. Look at that. Look at that.
Happier. Grant Robertson on.
Look at that.
People within the Labor Party with,
I mean, come on. What was it, guys? We know that these high-level Masons and everything, it's a huge part of their agenda. A lot of people don't even know this agenda exists. So, I mean, but I'm telling you, it's more prevalent than you think it is. It's way more prevalent than you think it is.
Began with 3 aces, finished with aces. Gold medal to Serena Williams over Maria Sharapova. 6-love, 6-1. And that is a sensational gold medal performance.
Some people will be able to take just one look at this photo of Serena Williams and immediately recognize the face of a man. But for those who need a little more proof, you will find it here in this video. When Serena Williams took the podium at the 2012 Olympics, something extraordinary happened, something that is against all mathematical odds. The American flag fell all by itself right at the point in the national anthem where the flag is normally mentioned in the lyrics. It was a sign for the whole world to see, but what does it mean? Most people who have seen a picture of Serena Williams have noticed that Serena has a face that appears to be very masculine. They have also noticed that Serena Williams has an upper body that appears to be very masculine. This video will explain this common first impression of Serena Williams and much more. It will even explain why the flag fell at the London Olympics. But first, we will take a quick look at a summary of our last video. In a previous video, we used systematic, investigative, and forensic methods to establish that Michelle Obama is in fact a man who prefers to dress up and who prefers to present himself as a woman. Michelle Obama is in fact a man. He is a drag queen whom American taxpayers have placed on a pedestal and celebrated as a woman. Michelle carefully uses illusions created by fashion to conceal his true male proportions. Americans pay top dollar for Michelle's wardrobe, travel expenses, security detail, and every imaginable perk as Americans finance Michelle's...
Michael and I also want to...
That is, Michael's ongoing deception along with his partner, Barack, and their adopted children. Americans have raised up and celebrated these two male lovers and have turned Michael and Barack into the most powerful homosexual couple on the planet. With that video now behind us, it is now time to take a closer look at... Wait a minute, that's Conan the Barbarian. My, what big biceps Conan has. Oh no, that's not Conan, that's Serena Williams. What is a tennis player who is supposed to be a woman doing with biceps like those? Oh, he is smashing one of the strongest and most expensive tennis rackets on the planet into pieces, as though it was just a little stick. Not only does Serena have the strength of a man, but he also has some very serious anger issues as well. We will get to those later. But first,
Roid rage.
let's look at
Yeah.
why Serena has the strength of a man. But before we do, some people watching this video might think that the photo of Serena's biceps was photoshopped. It is not surprising that some people may believe that, because so many of the images of Serena Williams that people have seen have indeed been photoshopped. Like this one, actually, the magazine editor removed the arms altogether. Or like this one, notice how the biceps and arms have been covered up. Notice also how the waist from an actual woman has been photoshopped onto this picture. And so now let's have a good look at what Serena's waist really looks like. Serena Williams has the waist of a man. Does anyone in America remember what a man looks like anymore? Perhaps this next image will help. This is Serena Williams without the facially distorting smile, and he most certainly has the face of a man. Pink nail polish on those fingernails and some plucked eyebrows cannot hide that man face. Serena Williams has the neck of a man. Be honest with yourself. Have you ever seen a neck like that on a woman? And remember, Serena is not a bodybuilder. He is a tennis player. Serena Williams has the shoulders of a man. Serena Williams has the arms of a man. Serena Williams has breasts that have been formed by hormone replacement therapy, and those breasts are located on the upper torso of a man who likes to present himself and who prefers to dress up as a woman. Serena Williams has the lower torso of a man. Nice man legs, Serena. Nice job balancing on those stilettos as well. Serena Williams has a lower torso that is heavier than his upper torso because of fat deposits that are a direct result of hormone replacement therapy. Serena Williams is not Little Red Riding Hood. He has the bone structure and overall body proportions of a man. Serena Williams is, in fact, a man who likes to deceive people into believing that he is a woman by distracting people with his big facially distorting smile, through flamboyant gestures and behavior, by deliberately raising his voice, by wearing makeup, by wearing women's clothing, and by surgically altering his male genitalia. Now, it is quite understandable how some people may be a little shocked at this point in the video. Shocked, that is, to finally hear the truth. And while in shock, some people may in fact be entering into the first.
I'll just point out too, if you look at this picture right here pretty closely, this is a real woman, and you can see how this, and a lot of the researchers will point this out to you, but this is how a woman's hip looks right here. It curves like this into her just above the belly button section there. And this is how a man on the right, this is how a man's waistline looks. This is how his hip line will look.
First stage of grief, a stage that is known as denial. There is not much this video is going to do to help you with the shock, but perhaps this next observation will help you to get through the denial phase a little faster. The most immutable and blatantly obvious proof that Serena Williams was born as a baby boy with male chromosomes is the indent point at the waist. Notice how a woman's waist has indent points on both sides above the navel, whereas a man's waist has indent points below the navel. Now, if we take a close look at the indent point on the waist of a woman walking next to Serena, we can clearly see that the waist indent point is above the navel, whereas Serena's waist indent point is below the navel and is located at the top of the hip bone. Perhaps this will help. Once again, the waist of a healthy woman naturally indents above the navel. Serena's waist indents below the navel. Perhaps Serena could show us where his indent point would be if he in fact was a woman. Thank you, Serena. Yes, it would be right about there. And because it is not, Serena Williams has the DNA of a man. Apparently, that whole gender deception thing did not work out well for him at all. Now, some people will argue that physical differences between white people and black people are responsible for the different waist indent points that are shown in this photo. And so let's see if that is a credible argument. Here is a photo of a black woman. Notice the waist indent point is located above the navel. Once again, a photo of a black woman. Notice the waist indent point is most certainly located above the navel. In this photo, it is easy to see that no amount of muscle can change one of the most basic features of a healthy woman, the feature that in fact gives a healthy woman her natural hourglass shape, and that is the indent point that is located above the navel. And so the argument that Serena's waist indent point is lower because of Serena's black and
Actually, Vic, what she's saying here is that this is actually a real woman. And you can see it has to do with the indent point being above the navel. So where I'm putting the mouse cursor right there, what she was just saying is that no matter how much exercise and muscle building and trimming this woman does, her indent point will always remain above the navel, just as this picture shows. Now, the Serena Williams pictures, yeah, that was a dude for sure.
Ancestry has no basis whatsoever in reality. Remember Serena's magazine cover? Do you notice anything unusual about the waist indent point on Serena when you compare it to the only woman in this photo? Perhaps this will help. This is the typical waist indent point of a man. Serena's waist indent point is located below his navel at the top of his hip bone because Serena was born a male and in fact has been physically formed by male DNA that can be found in each and every cell of his body. He can straighten and color his hair, put makeup on his face, and wear designer skirts and bras. But Serena Williams can't hide the fact that under all those false externals is the DNA of a man. He may look like...
All right, well, I don't think we need to watch that a lot longer. I think the point was proven. I think it was a slam dunk. There's a lot of good info that she just gave in that video. This is some kind of a repost of video, because this video I believe was scrubbed originally, and this is being reposted by other accounts now. But hey, guys, there's 6 people watching. Well, thanks for joining me, everyone. And so I've saved a video for until this time, which is near the end of the stream. We're going to do a Bible study real quick after this video, but I do have one last one, and this pertains to the faking of their own death, which is something that the elites commonly do. I don't know if they end up reintegrating into our normal societies or if there's hidden land that they end up going to. I'm really not sure what it would be very easy for them to blend back in, though, just so you know, because it's easy to disguise yourself and get a new identity and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, But this is if you've never seen this about David Bowie faking his own death before, I think you're gonna have your socks blown off right now, pretty much. So let's go ahead and watch it.
I already made a good amount of videos covering the David Bowie death hoax, and I find this extremely interesting. A day after David Bowie supposedly passed away, this man named Jack Stephen, a music industry executive from Fortress Music, shows up on Sky News and does an interview talking about David Bowie. Just look at this guy. This guy looks just like David Bowie. I mean, it's like identical twins. Get that goofy kind of haircut. Look at those teeth. Look at that chin. Of course, the nose is a bit off. You know, with the Hollywood type of magic they can, you know, whip up. They can make them look a little bit different. Throw people off with that nose. But overall, I just find it amazing. This no-name Jack Stephen does an interview. And David Bowie looks just like him. What are the odds of that? What's really suspicious, there's no background on this guy. It's Jack Stephen. Pops up out of nowhere. Guy talking about David Bowie looks just like him. What's up with that? Now let's take a look. Take a closer look at these teeth here. I mean, wow. Pretty much spot on. You've got the chins. Very similar. And this death hoax was planned out years ago. Just take a look at the CD cover for the Secret Songs back in 2007. And what do you see? Of course, as I mentioned before, this is the sign of silence. And what do you see behind him? You see his initials, DB, for David Bowie, of course. And it says die. All the other letters are crossed out or covered up by his head. DB, die. David Bowie, die. You've got the devil horns as well. And I'm going to play the video clip with David Bowie in disguise playing Jack Stephen in a Sky News studio. This is complete mockery that's taking place here. So obviously David Bowie, you can hear the voice, the mannerisms, and also note where he makes a mistake and he stumbles a few times and he refers to himself as David Bowie, as I, when he's asked questions. As a music executive, he's talking like he is referring to himself as the artist, which makes no sense if he's truly Jack Stephen. Take a look at the interview. I'm not going to talk through it. There's going to be also a few other things that you're going to see as well that just don't add up. This man is obviously David Bowie in disguise.
Now, as I promised, we'll talk now more about David Bowie and his influence. Let's bring in Jack Stephen. He is director of Fortune Music.
It's actually Fortress Music.
Fortress Music.
Yes.
Do beg your pardon,
never
Jack.
mind.
Fortress Music, and worked as in the music industry as an executive in the Bowie
Look at
era.
the duping
and also,
delight.
Bowie's fashion sense we're going to talk about as well. It's influenced the era. And Lizzie Zeta, fashion stylist, is with. Welcome to you both. Apologies again,
No
Jack.
problem.
I mean, but perhaps first sum up how you felt this morning when you heard this.
I was just saying earlier that I actually felt that part of me had died. I mean, I have to say that's how much an influence he is, I think, to me and to thousands and millions of people around the world. And strangely, I'm surprised. I sort of lived through John Lennon's death, Elvis's death, and sadly, this one's affected me more than any other. I mean, it's a very strange thing because I think with him, he was probably the first complete artist where he was involved in every single area of his career, whether it's photography, fashion, whether it was film, whether it was poetry, whether it was live work where he was very theatrical. I mean, his vocal influence, a lot of people don't know this, came from Anthony Newley, who of course was a musical artist. So I find it very, very sad today.
People today talking about how he reinvented himself, how he went with the times, but he led the times in so many aspects through the 70s, 80s, 90s.
He wasn't frightened of change, and so to him every album was a different persona, and so he loved doing that. So at one point he had Ziggy Stardust, next point he had Ed Insane. And he wasn't frightened of plagiarism either. I mean, he used, for example, the hunky dory photograph from the album was actually based on Marlene Dietrich. And so he wasn't frightened where he did, you know, where he used his influence. I mean, he was hugely influential with me because I was A&R at RCA when he was sort of to the tail end of that. And I signed a band there called the Eurythmics, which I was having terrible problems with. I mean, really, well, nobody liked them at the label. I mean, promotion didn't like them, press didn't like them. I mean, nobody did. My boss didn't really like them. He kept telling me that they were weird. And there was an artist liaison guy there called Tony McGrogan who sort of came up to my office, grabbed me and said, look, Bowie wants to meet up with you. Bring the tapes. So I always remember this. I brought The Walk and Love is a Stranger. And I sat with him and I played them to him. And he thought they were absolutely fantastic. And then, you know, and then he's, you know, I mean, his words to me were very much, if you believe in it, fight for it. Because I have. I mean, that's what he said to me. And so I did, and it became hugely successful. And when the album went top 5, I got a telegram from him saying, thank God there's finally an A&R man with ears at RCA. Shame I've gone to EMI.
Fine. We'll talk about him as a man, because actually showing that he was funny.
It was very funny, yeah.
The influence on your side of your profession, I mean, incredible what
Enormous.
he did, and how his look evolved, and not just the fashion, the makeup, the hair, and the influence that, well, I guess it was all down to him, was it? Or did he have a team of designers?
No, he didn't. I mean, no doubt he took ideas from various people, as Jack has said. But what I love about him is that he was such a true creative. He was a real innovator, and he didn't give a damn. He was a true original, and he changed all the time his different looks throughout the ages. Just when you think, oh, well, we've got a grip on that, he'd completely change again and do something totally different. He would completely pare it down, cut it back, make it black and white. So, yeah, he was an amazing guy.
And for so long through the career, gender neutral.
Yes, he was. Initially, he was gender neutral. He was one of the first men, aside from Mick Jagger, to wear a dress. That was early on. That caused complete controversy at the time. Now we're just like, well, guys in a dress is not, you know. But at the time, it was very groundbreaking. It was very, very brave of him to do so. Then he went on to his androgynous stage and Ziggy Stardust and all the stuff that we know so well. And after that, he decided that he was going to pare things down and go for, you know, very simple looks, black trousers, white shirt, very, very simple, all the time changing. Just when you think that you had him, he'd move in a completely different direction.
Jack, do you think he was a happy man? You've clearly shown us that he was a funny man.
The times that I met him, yes. You know, I mean, you know, what was there not to be happy? I mean,
the pressure.
Well, the pressure maybe, but I mean, he was able to express himself in a way that most artists can't. One of the most beautiful wives in the world. I mean, you know, it's a sort of, you know, I mean, what do you know?
What's not to like?
What's not to like? And also, you know, he had such a grasp on technology, even when he got ill. You know, I mean, I heard that he was having heart trouble and stuff. But then he sort of digitally released an album that went to #1 in the UK charts. I mean, you know, so I think if I was Bowie, I look back.
Not sure what all the artifacting on this video is about. I don't think that's my connection. I think that's just how this video is.
It wasn't easy for him, I have to tell you. I mean, he fought every single step of the way. I mean, I know the American side was really hard because he was furious that none of his records really broke big in America. And so he really got sort of annoyed and actually just packed up, went to America, and then did the Diamond Dogs tour where he booked 3 theaters. I mean, I think one in Philadelphia, Radio City, and I think the other one was the Universal tour. I can't remember, it was the Universal. And he booked them himself, filmed it, and he said, right, I'm breaking America alone. I don't care about you, RCA.
I mean, interestingly, even if in your youth or even now anyone wasn't into Bowie, today will show you that the people that you were into or are into would have been terribly influenced by what he did. I mean, he had such an impact.
And if you weren't here earlier, I showed how Michael Jackson did the exact same thing after his death. He comes back as a guy named Dave, and they do like a CNN interview with him, but it's actually just Michael Jackson dressed up as Dave. So if you missed that part, you should go back and watch this live stream video when it gets published after I'm done.
On so many layers of the music industry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But also, you see, he was a great spotter of talent. I mean, you know, he was the first person to, you know, from the UK as a European artist who sort of got into the whole Velvet Underground scene. You know, I mean, he loved all of that. Iggy Pop and the Stooges. You know, he's the first person to experiment with sort of dark computer sounds in terms of his, you know, albums like Low and Lodger, which he did in Berlin with Tony Visconti and Brian Eno. You know, Let's Dance. I mean, that was a complete surprise. You know, working with Nile Rodgers. I mean, it was almost a disco record. I mean, it's phenomenal. You know, even Tin Man, which, you know, wasn't very popular, but I always kind of liked it because it was like him going, you know, I like, you know, white trash rock, and I'm going to play it, and you know, that's it. I was going to swear then.
Behave.
But he was also great at spotting fashion talent. He picked up on a young designer called Yamamoto, who then went on to design those really outlandish costumes for stage, very theatrical, very strong. And he also later picked up on Alexander McQueen. He designed him a frock coat. This was before Alexander McQueen was really huge. And he designed this frock coat for him, complete with cigarette burns everywhere, that was incredibly iconic. So I think from all, he was a highly intelligent, erudite man. And he was a visionary who could pick up all these influences before they started hitting the mainstream. And he was always true to himself.
And all of those things live on in the exhibitions that
Yes,
there is,
of
I
course.
suppose, which now touring the world.
And he's been hugely successful.
Do you have a favourite look, a favourite time of David Bowie?
Oh, that's so hard. I mean, I really quite fancied him when he was doing the soul boy look, and it was all suits and slick back dark hair. He looked gorgeous then, but it's got to be Ziggy Stardust. That's the most iconic, with a really outlandish makeup. And you know, every time a woman applies a glittery eyeshadow, every time the influence is right there. That's David Bowie.
Yeah, and this is really hard. Maybe you can't answer it, but do you have a favourite song?
Oh, it's impossible. We're talking earlier. The one song that I was probably the most impressed with, which was really obscure, was that you went live on a Bing Crosby show in America and did Little Drummer Boy.
Yes.
And to this day, I mean, the courage of the man to do that, because Bing Crosby is regarded as one of the most purest singers in the world. And I think just for the fact that he had the courage to do that, I think that's one of my favourite tunes of his.
Will he be looked back on as the proper rock and roll star? I mean, did he live the rock and roll lifestyle?
In his early days, absolutely.
In his early days.
You know, but I mean, you know, he is the man that developed modern day music, the approach to modern day music, where you have to really understand every facet of media. I mean, he was very much like that. And, you know, but he was a very funny man. He used to make me laugh.
And we're all of a certain age, but you believe that things that he pioneered live on today, that actually his influence is still there.
They definitely do. In the cab coming down, I was thinking, okay, influences of David Bowie: flat caps, V-neck play suits, bright socks, very outlandish prints. Suits for men, you see them on the high street all the time in pastel colours. He was a pioneer of all of this at a time when they were outrageous, when men's fashion was like, well, we might as well look at paint drying, it was so boring. So yeah, he was a one-off, and very contemplative as well. He went off to Berlin for quite a while to sort of go inward, to read poetry. He got involved with the art scene there, and he completely changed his look. And he went from very flamboyant to really low key.
Just finally then, Jack, Black Star. I mean, do you see it how people are seeing it today, that this is his goodbye, that this was all pre-planned?
I think it is his goodbye, but I don't think he'll ever be forgotten.
Lovely to talk to you both, Jack Stephen and Lizzie Zeta. Thank you both.
Okay,
Thank you too.
All right, we're just gonna stare at this image just for a minute here. Yeah, I mean, this isn't actually the Russian Vids video that I was hoping it was. He made several on this topic, and there's I remember it's been scrubbed. I don't know if he's reposted it or not, but I could not find it. But it even goes into more detail on their faces and everything like that, and it's like an absolute match. I mean, if you just can't tell from this alone, he goes into even more depth on one of his other videos. It's just ridiculous, you know. So, you know, they're definitely the same person. So yeah, that's what I got for the videos today. And so now what we're going to do is move over to a Bible study. I got Habakkuk 1, 2, and 3 lined up today. So pretty short, interesting. We'll see if they relate to any of the topics that we're most interested in. So he's an older prophet. This was obviously, you know, I mean, this was well before. He's kind of in the middle of the prophets, so to speak, or kind of near the end, actually, getting near the end. So, wait, where did Habakkuk go? That's weird. It doesn't show it on the list anymore. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, I'll go ahead and just start us off, and then we'll once I read through them. Yeah, you know what? That is super weird. I have to just chalk it up, Gabby, to YouTube being complete garbage. It is a censorship nightmare. Google is a censorship nightmare. YouTube is a censorship nightmare. It is controlled by the forces of Satan. There's 100% no doubt about it. I just chalk it up to that, right? I mean, that's it. Okay, so I'll get us started here. The oracle that Habakkuk the prophet saw. O Lord, how long shall I cry for help, and you will not hear? O cry to you violence, and you will not save? Why do you make me see iniquity, and why do you idly look at wrong? Destruction and violence are before me. Strife and contention arise. So the law is paralyzed, and justice never goes forth. For the wicked surround the righteous. So justice goes forth perverted. Look among the nations and see, wonder and be astonished. For I am doing a work in your days that you would not believe if I told. This is the Lord's answer to Habakkuk. For behold, I am raising up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, who march through the breadth of the earth to seize dwellings not their own. They are dreaded and fearsome. Their justice and dignity go forth for themselves. Their horses are swifter than leopards, more fierce than the evening wolves. Their horsemen press proudly on. Their horsemen come from afar. They fly like an eagle swift to devour. They all come for violence, all their faces forward. They gather captives like sand. At kings they scoff, and at rulers they laugh. They laugh at every fortress, for they pile up earth and take it. Then they sweep by like the wind and go on. Guilty men, whose own might is their God. And Habakkuk's complaining about it. He's upset that this is being allowed to go on. Are you not from everlasting, O Lord my God, my Holy One? We shall not die. O Lord, you have ordained them as a judgment, and you, O Rock, have established them for reproof. You who are of purer eyes than to see evil, and cannot look at wrong. Why do you idly look at traitors, and remain silent when the wicked swallows up the man more righteous than he? You make mankind like the fish of the sea, like crawling things that have no ruler. He brings all of them up with a hook. He drags them out with his net. He gathers them in his dragnet. So he rejoices and is glad. Therefore he sacrifices to his net and makes offering to his dragnet. For by them he lives in luxury, and his food is rich. Is he then to keep on emptying his net and mercilessly killing nations forever? So yeah, that's Habakkuk's second complaint to the Lord. He's pretty upset. Yeah, I mean, he's basically, there's just a whole lot of iniquity taking place in his time, and nothing's being done about it. The Lord is not answering, it appears. the Lord does answer his prayer and his outcry, his complaint, and he says, well, I'm going to lift up the Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation. You know, they're not good guys, but he's going to lift them up for his reasons, is what he tells them. And then Habakkuk's like, well, I got another complaint. It's you know, the righteous are still being slain and nothing's being done about it, basically. So that's Habakkuk 1. We'll move on to Habakkuk 2. Oh, thanks, Gabby. I appreciate you saying that. Cool. Oh, yeah, I do remember that now. I do think I commented. I remember commenting to you back then. Yeah, kind of does sound like that a little bit, doesn't it, Stu? All right, we'll move on to Habakkuk 2 here. I will take my stand at my watchpost and station myself on the tower and look out to see what he will say to me and what I will answer concerning my complaint. And the Lord answered me, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. For still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Behold, his soul is puffed up. It is not upright within him, but the righteous shall live by his faith. Moreover, wine is a traitor, an arrogant man who is never at rest. His greed is as wide as Sheol. Like death, he has never enough. He gathers for himself all nations and collects as his own all peoples. Shall not all these take up their taunt against him with scoffing and riddles for him and say, woe to him who heaps up what is not his own. For how long? And loads himself with pledges. Will not your debtors suddenly arise, and those awake who will make you tremble? Then you will be spoil for them, because you have plundered many nations. All the remnant of the peoples shall plunder you. For the blood of man and violence to the earth, to cities and all who dwell in them. Woe to him who gets evil gain for his house, to set his nest on high, to be safe from the reach of harm. You have devised shame for your house by cutting off many peoples. You have fortifited your life. For the stone will cry out from the wall, and the beam from the woodwork respond. Woe to him who builds a town with blood and founds a city on iniquity. Behold, is it not from the Lord of hosts that peoples labor merely for fire, and nations weary themselves for nothing? For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. Woe to him who makes his neighbors drink, who pour out your wrath and make them drunk in order to gaze at their nakedness. You will have your fill of shame instead of glory. Drink yourself and show your uncircumcision. The cup in the Lord's right hand will come around to you, and utter shame will come upon your glory. The violence done to Lebanon will overwhelm you, as will the destruction of the beasts that terrified them. For the blood of man and violence to the earth, to cities and all who dwell in them. What profit is an idol when its maker has shaped it? A metal image, a teacher of lies? For its maker trusts in his own creation when he makes speechless idols. Woe to him who says to a wooden thing, awake, to a silent stone, arise. Can this teach? Behold, it is overlaid with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in it. But the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. All right. So this is a little more like positive for Habakkuk right here, you know, because he's been complaining. Oh, Amy's in the house. What's up, Amy? Oh, I'm going in and out. Oh, shoot. Was I going in and out there, you guys? Could you hear me? I wonder if my stream's being messed with or something. It could be, you know, I don't know. Oh, it sounded good, Stu. Thanks for telling me. At least I think some people heard it well, so that's good. But yeah, let's analyze Habakkuk 2 here. So he says, I will take my stand at my watchpost and station myself on the tower and look out to see what he will say to me and what he will answer concerning my complaint. So Habakkuk's saying, I'm just waiting. I'm on my tower. I'm waiting for the Lord to respond. And the Lord answered him. So he says, you know, write this down. He says this vision awaits its appointed time. He's obviously referring to the day of the Lord, I believe, here in this one. But let's make sure we can confirm that with the rest of the scripture here. Let's see. Behold, his soul is puffed up. Now, who is he speaking of here, though? Because the Lord is speaking. He's saying, behold, his soul is puffed up. I guess he could just be talking about any person that's wicked on the earth. Behold, his soul is puffed up. It is not upright within him, but the righteous shall live by his faith. Moreover, wine is a traitor, an arrogant man who is never at rest. His greed is as wide as Sheol. Like death, he never has enough. He has never enough and gathers for himself. Now, this is woe to the Chaldeans. So in Habakkuk 1, he says, I'm going to raise up the Chaldeans to go destroy. But then this one, he's giving woe unto them as well because they're wicked. He uses them like a tool. The Lord uses them like a tool, but it doesn't mean that they're good guys. Because he usually then just goes ahead and destroys them after he's used them to destroy somebody else, like Israel or Jerusalem. He goes ahead and just wrecks the people that took over, that went against Jerusalem, after he actually raised them up to do just that. Because you have plundered many nations, all the remnants of the people shall plunder you for the blood and the violence. So the Chaldeans were bad dudes. He says, you've plundered many nations. And he says, now they're going to, all the remnant of the peoples shall plunder you. Let's see here. Set his nest on high. Yeah, so there were obviously rich people, the Chaldeans saying, doing that, thinking they could escape judgment, but they could not. So really, this is just a warning to the Chaldeans, I would say. He's pretty much just prophesying that he's going to destroy them. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there is the interesting part where here at the end where he says, let's see here. He talks about idols quite a bit at the end, so he's obviously chastising them for that. Oh yeah, it's actually here in the middle where he says, you have devised shame for your house by cutting off many peoples. You have forfeited your life. For the stone will cry out from the wall, and the beam from the woodwork respond. So I think what it is it's really just the amount of killing that they have done, these Chaldeans, the amount of destruction and killing and plundering they've done, it has been enough to where the stone will cry out from the wall and the beam from the woodwork respond, because these beams and stones have been witness to so many crimes against humanity. That's how I'm reading that one there. So we'll move on to Habakkuk 3, and then we'll finish up with a prayer here today. Scotty's in a hard place right now. Well, yeah, we'll get him in our prayers here today. Yes, Stu, I like these too. Thanks a lot. Thanks for everyone for being here. I hope I'm doing okay. All right, so we'll do Habakkuk 3, and then we'll close it out here today. A prayer of Habakkuk the prophet according to Shingoyonoth. O Lord, I have heard the report of you, and your work, O Lord, do I fear. In the midst of the years, revive it. In the midst of the years, make it known. In wrath, remember mercy. God came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran, Selah. His splendor covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. His brightness was like the light. Rays flashed from his hand, and there he veiled his power. Before him went pestilence, and plague followed at his heels. He stood and measured the earth. He looked and shook the nations. Then the eternal mountains were scattered. The everlasting hills sank low. His were the everlasting ways. I saw the tents of Cushan in affliction. The curtains of the land of Midian did tremble. Was your wrath against the rivers, O Lord? Was your anger against the rivers, or your indignation against the sea when you rode on your horses, on your chariot of salvation? You stripped the sheath from your bow, calling for many arrows. Selah, you split the earth with rivers. The mountains saw you and writhed. The raging waters swept on. The deep gave forth its voice. It lifted its hands on high. The sun and moon stood still in their place, at the light of your arrows as they sped, at the flash of your glittering spear. You marched through the earth in fury. You threshed the nations in anger. You went out for the salvation of your people, for the salvation of your anointed. You crushed the head of the house of the wicked, laying him bare from thigh to neck, Selah. You pierced with his own arrows the heads of his warriors, who came like a whirlwind to scatter me, rejoicing as if to devour the poor in secret. You trampled the sea with your horses, the surging of mighty waters. I hear, and my body trembles. My lips quiver at the sound. Rottenness enters into my bones. My legs tremble beneath me. Yet I will quietly wait for the day of trouble to come upon people who invade us. Though the fig tree should not blossom, nor fruit be on the vines, the produce of the olive fail, and the fields yield no food, the flock be cut off from the fold, and there be no herd in the stalls. Yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will take joy in the God of my salvation. God the Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the deer's. He makes me tread on my high places. So that's like a song, I guess. And this is Habakkuk's prayer. And so he's shown, so if you guys have any comments on what we just heard, please do put them in the chat. Gabby said no food. Yeah, there was a part in there where he talks about that. He's talking about, he talks in a past tense about what he, all the things he's seen. But in some ways, it's almost as though he's prophesying the day of the Lord as well. So, for example, he says, in the midst of the years, revive it. In the midst of the years, make it known. in wrath remember mercy. And he says, his splendor covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. His brightness was like the light, rays flashed out of his hands, and there he veiled his power. Before him went pestilence, and plague followed at his heels. Now, to me, this is kind of sounding like tribulation. He stood and measured the earth. He looked and shook the nations. Okay, so earthquake, probably. Also lining up with the day of the Lord. Then the eternal mountains were scattered. The everlasting hills sank low. Also describes as something that happens on the day of the Lord. But this could have happened multiple times, because this is also something that's described as what happens when Gog Magog compasses the camp of the saints. In Ezekiel 38, it describes a giant earthquake and mountains falling, cliffs falling. So there's several times on earth where this does happen. And then, but is he referring to a past tense? Because he says then it's all in a past tense the way he says it. His were the everlasting ways. I saw the tents of Cushan in affliction. The curtains of the land of Midian did tremble. Was your anger against the river, against the sea, when you rode on your horses, on your chariot of salvation? You stripped the sheath from your bow, calling for arrows on many nations. You split the earth with rivers. So this is more of a creation type of scenario, but he could have done this during Armageddon as well. You split the earth with rivers. Although, it's hard to say when this event happened, you know, but it is talking about the splitting of the earth right here. The mountains saw you and writhed. The raging water swept on. The deep, which is the great deep, gave forth its voice. So this would be the floods, I believe. This is when, during the great flood. So this gives credence to that he is talking about the great flood event here, because that's when the deep gave forth its waters. The fountains were broken up. Let's see here. Although I could be wrong, I could be misinterpreting that. The deep gave forth its voice. I definitely think it's the great deep, but what he's saying, you know, what does that mean? It gave forth its voice. I don't know. The sun and the moon stood still in their place. That happens on the day of the Lord as well, I believe. It may have happened during the flood. At the light of your arrows as they sped, the glittering, so he's talking about the glittering spear, which is also the glittering sword. And he used that during Armageddon extensively. Yeah, I know what you mean about that. I was referencing red pill, purple pill, and stuff like that a lot yesterday, but it's okay. It's an easy way to talk about things. Everybody knows it. So, yeah, the sun and the moon stood still in their place. At the light of your arrows did they speed, in the flash of your glittering spear. So, but the glittering spear and the glittering sword was used extensively during Armageddon. Let's see. You marched through the earth in fury. You threshed the nations in anger. That sounds like Armageddon as well. But it could have been maybe the flood. I don't know. I mean, you went out for the salvation of your people, because it's almost like a mixing of the two. So it's hard to figure out here which one he's talking about. You pierced with his own arrows the heads of his warriors. You trampled the sea with your horses, the surging of mighty waters. This could have been the flood. So I think we're going to end it there today, guys, unless you guys have any other comments on these chapters. If you did get here in the last, I've been streaming now for an hour and a half. So if you didn't watch the whole stream, I definitely recommend you can go back and watch it from the beginning after this stream ends. And I went over a lot of stuff with the transgender agenda, as well as the death faking agenda of the satanic elites in this live stream today. So if you're interested in those topics, this is a good one to watch. I was able to actually dig up some scrubbed videos from alternative sources that you can't even find like through normal search engines stuff very much anymore, because it's just been so obfuscated. So it, if you're not familiar with those, go check them out. Yeah, I know Habakkuk not usually mentioned. I kind of got onto it from Alan was reading this one. Alan Hughes from Flat Earth Nation was reading this one, and so I kind of just wanted to give it a look too. Scripture reference again, please. Yeah, so Habakkuk, Habakkuk 1, 2, and 3 is what we read today. So, yeah, so I'll go ahead and close it out here today. I really appreciate everybody that's here in the chat. Let's go ahead and take off your hats if you're a man, put on your caps if you're a woman, and let's, dear Heavenly Father, let's pray for Scotty Waddles today. It sounds like he needs some help. Let's definitely keep praying for Alan and Noah on their mission and their journey that they're on, which is certainly blessed by you with the Hopi Nation. Let's pray for Tommy. I know he's been having some health problems lately. Let's pray for everybody in the chat who might have something that they need to help them out. And I just want to give you thanks again for this day, just like every day. Yeah, we love you so much. And amen. Hallelujah. Have a good one, guys. Have a great rest of the day. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.